Exterior, Holmes Island, day. A Polaroid photo, at first only a hazy image, begins developing before our eyes. The photo becomes a picture of a bridge heading to Holmes Island. Pelicans line the bridge. The water is a bright, bright blue. A bridge tender hangs out of the bridge house window. The developed Polaroid photo becomes a moving image. The bridge tender smiles, waves to us, and waves us on. Exterior, Holmes Island, day. Another Polaroid photo develops into the Holmes Island Welcomes You sign. Underneath the welcome sign it reads, "There's no place like Holmes." The Polaroid photo becomes a moving image, and a big truck loaded to the top with oranges drives by the sign and makes a turn. Oranges fall from the truck. 2 golf carts of seniors stop suddenly as the oranges roll in front of their path. Exterior, Holmes Island, day. We see a Polaroid photo of the exterior of the Breeze Inn, a cozy 1970s beach hotel. It quickly transitions into a moving image of the Breeze Inn lobby. Jade, a dreadlocked, tattooed, toned woman in her 30s, the co-owner of the Breeze Inn, stands behind the desk in the 1970s lobby. She has a smile on her face, welcoming us, but it is TV attached to the wall behind her that captures our interest. It's tuned in to the weather station. A map of Florida fills the screen. A tropical storm icon and rotating clouds fill the Gulf of Mexico. Exterior, Holmes Island, day. A Polaroid photo of exterior of the Holmes Island local grocery store, called Holmes Style, becomes a moving image. A weather station van pulls up in front of the store. Like flies, mildew and Daytona and other surfer rats gather around the weather station van. The seniors slowly drive by in their golf carts. Mary Matthews, a perky 30-something weather station correspondent, climbs out of the van. The surfer dudes surround her. Interior, Kate's apartment, day. We see a woman's hand taping the Polaroids onto a wall that is a bit faded except for the big rectangle where a painting recently hung. There is a bookcase full of old books against the wall. We see the hand tape a photo of the exterior of the Holmes Theater, a 1950s beach town kind of a movie theater. The marquee reads, "Bird of Paradise." Pinned next to that photo is a sheet of paper with a photo and post by the blogger, the movie theater professor. The photo reveals a 60-year-old man, a smiling, sweaty, chubby guy who wears a Christmas sweatshirt. The final photo is of the Holmes Theater proscenium. On the screen is an old movie. The old movie becomes a moving image. It's the conclusion of the 1932 film Bird of Paradise. On the screen, a beautiful young woman is seen climbing off of a ship, rejecting the wealthy men on the ship and climbing onto a small boat and going to an island. She walks about the islanders in a tribal costume. The last scene is of a volcano erupting. Interior, Holmes Theater, evening. Kate is in the projection booth of her and her grandfather's 1950s movie theater. She is 31. She wears a cute sundress and flip-flops. Her hair is blonde and shiny. She looks out the booth window, watching the end of Bird of Paradise. The final credits are running. She deliberately takes a framed photograph off of the projection booth wall and holds it up, looking at it for a moment. It's a photograph of Kate and Ted. It's one of those photos of the pretty couple wearing sweaters posing on the beach in the winter. Ted has it totally going on. His long dark hair is swept out of his fresh model face. He has a killer body, one that's been lovingly tended to. Kate is adorable, but a tiny bit rumpled, a bit awkward in the pose. Kate stashes the photograph in a box on a shelf in the projection booth. She grabs her Polaroid camera and steps out of the booth. Interior, Holmes Theater, evening. Kate and a teenaged employee, Annie, stand behind the sturdy old candy counter in the patina-infused lobby. They stare through the lobby windows into the dark. Annie is a surfer with crazy curly hair. Kate takes a Polaroid shot of Annie as she mimics being on her board. They laugh, and then Annie looks down at her iPad.
When's the movie theater professor getting here? Tomorrow afternoon.
Right before the storm.
Yeah. He's coming from Tallahassee. Went to see an old movie theater there.
Annie finally looks up from her iPad.
So what's your problem?
I don't have one.
Annie shakes her head and resumes looking at her iPad.
Well, do I say to them, thanks for coming all the way here to write about the homes?
I like it so far.
Then do I say, my family's owned it for 60 years?
Uh-huh.
And then I'll mention that I have to sell it so I can save my marriage.
Annie stops looking at her iPad. They stare out the window for a few seconds. They look at Annie's photo that has developed.
Ted could make it big. Maybe I'm supposed to sell this place. Help him chase his dream.
Ted has a rocking voice. He does. He can definitely make it in Nashville.
I know.
But you two, I'm not sure you two can make it in Nashville.
They stare out the lobby windows.
And anyway, you need to give the movie theater professor more credit. Just tell him the truth.
Interior, the Breeze Inn bar, night. Kate is sitting at the bar alone, waiting to talk to the bartender and co-owner of the Breeze Inn. Jimmy is a big surfer guy with dreadlocks bundled up on top of his head. On the wall behind the bar, the weather station is on all of the screens. We see maps of the Gulf of Mexico alternating with live reporting of the storm. But we can also hear a man, Ted, with a raspy, sexy voice, singing. We don't see him, because Kate has positioned herself so she can't see him, but we can hear him, accompanied by a slide guitar.
I wish you'd help me understand. Can you explain? Is there something you want to say? Can you explain?
Kate watches the TV screens. The song ends. Ted walks away from the stage, heads towards an exit door. Summer, the slide guitarist, quickly puts down her guitar and follows him. Jimmy finally walks over to Kate. Jimmy shakes his head before he even reaches her.
Sorry, I thought I told you he was singing tonight.
You did. I'm not staying. He just wants money.
Jimmy looks over to the door to the alleyway.
He just went out back with Summer.
Kate turns around to where she expected to see Ted. She stands up, leaves her beer at the bar. She walks through the bar, focused on the door to the alley behind the bar. She pushes open the door, just in time to see the slide guitarist, Summer, light a cigarette for Ted. Summer looks up and sees Kate, but she doesn't back away from Ted. Ted looks different than he did in the photo we saw of him. He now has bangs that are in his eyes. He looks sexy. He has at least 20 dude bracelets on his wrist.
Hey.
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 Summer puts out her cigarette with her boot, looks at Kate, nods, and walks back into the bar.
You're smoking cigarettes now?
Seriously?
Ted laughs, but throws his cigarette to the ground, puts it out with his cowboy boot.
I thought I'd bring you that money tonight. I'm going to be tied up tomorrow with that movie theater blogger.
Ted moves a bit away from Kate, stretching, fixing his hair, bored.
Maybe he can help you sell the place.
He's not a realtor. He's going to write a story about the history of the theater.
Whatever. Maybe he can help you get rid of it.
Ted starts to walk to the door. Kate moves in front of him, not ready for the conversation to be finished. Ted stops moving.
What do you need money for anyway?
Well, I'm going to Nashville this weekend to look for a place. I can look for a place for both of us if you want.
Tonight's not the time to talk about it.
Ted starts for the door again.
Wait.
He turns around, hopefully, smiling at Kate for the first time.
Here's the money.
A flash of disappointment, but then Ted takes the money and stashes it in his jeans. Kate watches him do it. She takes a good look.
Thanks. I gotta go back in. I'm playing again tomorrow night.
He moves toward Kate. They hug awkwardly. Ted looks at Kate.
You can bring that movie theater, Professor.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
What?
That's all you ever say.
What do you want me to say?
That you want to move to Nashville with me.
Ted turns to walk in the door.
Wait.
Ted turns, framed by the light of the open door. Kate pretends to take his photo. Ted shakes his head, but he smiles at the same time. They smile at one another for a second. Kate watches him walk in the door. The wind picks up. Interior, Kate's apartment, morning. Kate sits in front of her big old television console and watches the weather station. Her apartment is pretty gorgeous. Situated above the Holmes Theater, it is a place with good bones, but it is too empty, as Ted has moved most of his stuff out. We see the wall where Kate has fixed her Polaroids. She eats cereal and watches Mary Matthews report on the impending storm. Exterior, Holmes-style grocery store, day. Mildew, Daytona, and their buddies stand behind Mary Matthews. They smile, wave, and crack themselves up.
That's right. Holmes Island residents know how to prepare for the worst. Let's talk to some local residents. What have you been doing to prepare for the storm?
Guy Blue wears a bandana, t-shirt, shorts, and flip-flops, steps up to the microphone. He gestures to his friends behind him, who are now all holding big paper bags.
We bought as much beer as we possibly could. All we need are some tasty waves, a cool buzz, and we're fine.
Mildew, Daytona, and their buddies crack up laughing, as this is their favorite quote from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. They high-five each other and wave at the camera. Mary Matthews giggles.
Back to you, Greg.
Interior, Kate's apartment, morning. Kate laughs at the surfer rats on the TV, makes a phone call, and gets up to look out the window. She can see Mary Matthews and the weather station van from this window. She watches the spectacle in front of Holmes' style.
Hey, I'm watching the weather station on TV and in real life. It's weird. He's meeting me at the theater this afternoon. Will I be sandbagging? For sure. Yeah, right after I come see you.
Exterior, Holmes-style grocery store, day. Kate walks out of the Holmes Theater and sees the pre-storm activity across the street at the Holmes-style grocery store. The weather station van is still hanging out in front of the store. Mildew, Daytona, and the other surfer guys whiz by Mary Matthews on their skateboards as she gets ready for another on-camera update. Kate opens the door to her old truck, but a tall man who is in his early 30s with short dark hair and hipster sunglasses catches her eye. The man is Chip. He is dressed in black and looks hot, as in not dressed for island life, amongst the islanders. He watches the weather station activity and smiles. He looks up, sees Kate looking at him. He looks up at the Holmes Theater marquee and then back at Kate. There is a hint of recognition and curiosity in his expression. Kate quickly looks away, unlocks her truck, looks quickly at Chip again, and jumps in her truck and drives away. Exterior, Holmes Island, day. Kate drives her truck by shuffleboard courts. Seniors congregate, and there are a bunch of parked golf carts. She drives by a skateboard park. Mildew, Daytona, and the other surfer dudes are expertly maneuvering their boards. They wave at Kate. She waves back. She drives by a few island bars with old tan fishermen drinking beers outside. They wave to Kate. She waves back. She drives by Beach Elementary School, where volunteers are carrying in big containers of food and cots and other hurricane shelter provisions. Exterior, Holmes Island Beach Drive, day. Kate drives her truck along the scenic beach drive. The sky has grown increasingly gray. The waves are picking up. The palm trees bend in the wind. Kate drives by a row of beach houses. The beach house owners are outside placing plywood sheets over their windows. They wave to Kate. She waves back. Exterior, George Holmes' house, day. Kate pulls into her granddad's driveway. George Holmes' home is an old house. His front yard is a jungle, and there are yard sale quality statues everywhere where there isn't a tree, a plant, or a flower. Kate gets out of her truck and is met by Kate, a brown dog.
I'm back here.
Coming.
Kate and the dog Kate maneuver a narrow path to the backyard. The foliage is bursting forth. Kate can barely navigate the path. Exterior, George Holmes' backyard, day. Kate comes around the corner and sees her grandfather's back. George is in his late 70s. He's tan, fit, with a long ponytail. He is dressed in white flowing pants and a white flowing shirt. When he turns to greet Kate, we see he wears huge white glasses, and his white clothes are filthy. He is digging a massive hole in the backyard. There are several other holes as well. George's property is waterfront, but it's an inlet, not beach property. There are hundreds of potted plants hanging from trees, sitting on benches, overwhelming every space that is not grass.
What in the world, Granddad?
I got to thinking. You know that I buried it.
No luck, I see.
I haven't found it yet.
Want to go inside? Get some water?
Interior, George Holmes' kitchen, day. George's kitchen is crammed with old china, old glasses, knickknacks, just decades and decades worth of stuff. George and Kate stand against the counter and drink water out of weird vintage glasses.
The thing is, I'd really like to find that money.
I just don't think you buried it.
$110,000 is a lot to lose.
You're telling me.
I didn't give it to you.
No. Listen, if you just let me look for it.
Nah.
We're really gonna need to find it pretty soon.
Hell, maybe you should just sell the theater and move to Nashville.
I hardly even recognized Ted last night.
He's the same as he ever was. It's you that's changed.
Are you channeling John Wayne right now, Granddad?
I ran the Holmes for 50 years. Some cinematic influences surely did hold sway.
Selling the theater means selling our legacy. And if I move to Nashville, you'll be here by yourself.
The Duke believed that a man ought to do what he thinks is right.
Easy for him to say. And anyway, I don't know what's right.
The Duke always knew.
Yeah, he sure did. Lucky guy.
He was an asshole, though.
Kate laughs.
Anyway, nothing wrong with mulling things over. You come from a long line of deliberators. Your parents, of course, were sentenced to theirs.
Kate looks around the kitchen, looks up at a clock on the wall. There is another clock hanging right next to it.
They're pissed that I'm thinking about staying.
Your parents have always liked big adventure, and they don't love this island. Of course they'd want you to go.
No, they have made it clear. They want me to stay married.
George laughs.
Tell me again why you care what they think.
They're my parents.
George laughs again.
How would they know what's right for you? Didn't even bother to raise you.
Kate looks at George, puts her glass down on the counter. She nods, but she doesn't answer.
Their hearts weren't big enough for the job, sorry to say.
Kate looks over at George's office. It's a little room completely crammed with 50 years of materials and paperwork concerning the Holmes Theater.
When are you going to start moving some of this upstairs?
To be honest, it's just too damn hot.
You've got the AC running in that room? We've got a ton of movie reels up there.
It's running fine. I get too damn hot walking up and down the stairs. I haven't been up there for a while. The dog and I have been sleeping on the porch.
The humidity's a killer. For you and those reels.
You need me to help with the sandbagging?
Nope.
One more thing. The storm got me thinking about it. We need to check on our insurance policy.
What do you mean?
I've just gotten a little behind with the paperwork, that's all.
You and I need to figure out a better system for the paperwork. Maybe it's just time for me to take it over anyway.
Might consider Annie for the job.
Kate laughs.
Thanks for that vote of confidence, Granddad.
Exterior, Holmes Island, day. Kate pulls up to a beach parking lot, adjacent to the Breeze Inn. The surfer rats surround her, like flies.
You surfing with us?
Not a chance.
This is a serious violation.
I'm a grown-up, and I've got stuff to do. That is vile.
I am sorry to say it, but you are a violator.
A violator of the wave. This is certainly most painful to hear. Your punishment will be severe. It is as I feared.
Interior, Breeze Inn bar, day. Kate walks into the bar from the beach. She approaches the bar where Jimmy is standing. On the wall behind the bar, televisions are all playing the weather station.
Sweet waves.
They're gonna suck when they roll in here later.
You gonna board up?
That's not gonna help. But I'm gonna get Mildew and Daytona to help me sandbag.
I'd help, but I gotta meet the movie theater professor. Did he check in? Did Jade say?
You're gonna sandbag the theater, right?
I'll get it done, but I need to see about the movie theater professor right now.
Jade, Kate's got a question.
Tell her to come here.
Jimmy turns up the music, and Kate wanders to the next room, the lobby of the Breeze Inn Motel. Jade is standing behind the desk in her 70s-inspired lobby. The TV behind her is still on the weather station. She smiles at Kate.
Should you be coming tonight? Ted's singing. Definitely. I'm coming. He moved out 6 months ago, Kate. Maybe it's time to get a little more distance. I just want to know if the movie theater professor checked in.
Jade looks behind Kate for a second, but then tunes back into what she is saying, smiling slightly.
Yeah, he'd be the chubby one with the cat hair all over his sweatpants.
Jade smiles deviantly and gestures for Kate to turn around.
Kate, this is Chip, the movie theater professor.
Kate turns around. The movie theater professor is the tall, dark-haired man Kate has seen in front of Homestyle. She takes a step back.
You're not the movie theater professor.
I am the movie theater professor.
But the photo on your blog.
That's my Uncle Ed. He ran the State Theater in Portland for years.
Kate looks at Chip. An awkward silence ensues. Jade's smile grows.
Would it work for you if I met you at the theater at 4?
Absolutely. That'll give me some time to throw down some sandbags.
Kate smooths down her hair and wipes her upper lip. Exterior, Holmes Island, day. Kate walks up to her truck, opens the door, and starts to get in.
Hail, vile one.
Way violator, are you ready to repent?
Kate looks at them, pauses, and then finally nods.
I am ready.
She shuts her truck door and grabs her surfboard.
It is as it should be.
Kate walks to the water and surfs with Mildew and Daytona, who are all half her age. The waves are big, the skies are dark. Interior, Holmes Theater, day. Kate and Chip are standing in the lobby of the Holmes. Kate is dressed in a sweet sundress. She still wears flip-flops. Chip is dressed smartly. He has a camera around his neck. He holds a stack of papers, iPad, etc.
Here, set that stuff down. Wanna take a look around?
Chip nods and sets his things down on the counter. But he keeps his camera. We get a tour of the theater through the photos that Chip is taking. He takes photos of the candy counter, the ornate exit sign, the proscenium, the seats, the projection booth, and finally a photo of Kate. The photo becomes a moving image, and Kate starts talking.
My granddad ran it from 54 until 2004. He was the black sheep of the family. Cared more about shadow and light than making tons of money.
This place is incredible.
The light fixtures and the theater curtains are original.
Nice. To think it's been in your family all these years.
This place has made a lot of folks happy.
I know I'm happy to be here.
Chip turns around, happily looking at Kate. Kate can't take her eyes off of Chip.
You said you had some archival materials as well?
Well, my granddad has most of it at his house in his vault, but I've got some stuff upstairs.
Interior, Kate's apartment, day. Kate and Chip walk into her bedroom, as she has a climate-controlled closet in her bedroom where she keeps old photos and relics from the theater's past. Chip looks around. It's a lovely old room, but it's nearly empty. Kate opens the closet. Chip peers in as Kate looks for old photo albums of the theater. She carefully picks up the albums and puts them on her bed. They stand over the albums, and we see a series of 1950s, 1960s photos taken at the Holmes. Audiences standing outside the theater in their nicest clothes, ushers in uniforms standing at the door, candy girls flirting with the camera. Finally, we see one photo of a young George Holmes standing behind the candy counter. He is looking at a candy girl, and then, inexplicably, the photo moves. We see young George's head turn. Then he looks straight at us. And then the photo is still again.
And that's Granddad, George. He really wants to meet you. The storm, though. Will you be here this weekend?
I've got stuff to do this weekend.
Of course. But maybe there'll be time for us to go visit him. Poke around in the vault.
Kate wipes her upper lip and looks at Chip appreciatively.
I really respect your work and how much you value the cinematic past.
Kate looks down, thinking, and then looks up shyly.
I'm really struggling with the theater, Chip.
But I bet you're great at running this old place.
Well, I'm pretty good at running it into the ground.
Kate takes an unself-conscious movie star breath, then looks at Chip, who looks at her quite intently.
Maybe we could meet up later at Jimmy and Jade's, unless you have other plans.
Chip smiles and nods. Interior breeze-in lobby, night. The sounds from the bar are muffled rock and roll and occasional yelps. Chip stands at the desk waiting for Kate. He is talking to Jade, who is standing behind the desk.
How'd it go at the Holmes?
Great theater.
Jimmy walks in from the bar, kisses Jade, smiles at Chip.
They may close the bridge.
The bridge?
Can't have people driving on the bridge in those winds. And here's the thing. If they do close it, everybody staying at the Breeze has got to go to the shelter.
Seriously?
It's just the elementary school. We'll go too. Right, Jimmy?
Nah, but we'll get Kate to escort you there.
Jade and Jimmy grin at each other. Kate walks in the door with her Polaroid camera and takes a photo of Jade, Jimmy, and Chip.
Kate, our analog expert. Merle said the surge could bring the water over the bridge.
That weather station getup has been parked in front of Homestyle all day.
We're pretty much ready here. How about the Holmes?
Nah, but I'll get it done.
You could get Mildew and Daytona to help you.
Believe me, they are of no help to me at all.
Kate rolls her eyes.
Look.
They look at the weather station broadcast on the TV. Exterior, Holmes Island, night. Mary Matthews is on air, beachfront.
And when that high tide comes up around 2 a.m, I sure won't be standing here. Tomorrow we're going to wake up to some serious flooding, building destruction, and beach erosion along this beautiful coast. Is this the cost of climate change? That to you, Daniel.
The camera and lights go off, and Mary relaxes. She walks up to Guy Blue, Mildew, and Daytona. Guy hands her a cup of coffee and smiles. She smiles back and takes the coffee. Exterior, Breeze-In bar, night. Kate and Chip sit at the bar. The Breeze-In bar is hopping, as many of the islanders have come to the bar to ride out the storm. Jimmy is hustling behind the bar. Jade runs back and forth between the desk and helping out Jimmy. Behind the bar, there are multiple TVs all playing the weather station.
I show a lot of classics, good independent and foreign films too.
I watch Bringing Up Baby at least twice a year. It's therapy. And it happened one night.
Chip leans in to Kate, and Kate quotes from It Happened One Night.
I'm the whippoorwill that cries in the night. I'm the soft morning breeze that caresses your lovely face.
Kate leans in to Chip.
You've got a name, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got a name.
Kate takes a drink.
Katie Holmes. You might have noticed that pretty much everything on this island has Holmes on it.
How did that happen?
Kate laughs.
My family pretty much settled the island. They made a killing in the 1920s when the tourist industry made its way here.
Lucky you. My family were starving potato farmers in northern Maine.
Well, fortunes come and go.
What do you mean?
Kate takes a deep breath and looks at Chip carefully and then looks away. She takes a drink.
My parents, world travelers extraordinaire, got into importing stuff from Bali. Not all of which was legal, as it turns out.
Oh,
Yeah, and then the feds figured out they could pretty much take the family money, drug-related or not,
where do they live?
in prison, in Alabama. Different places. It kills them to be apart.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We talk on the phone, and I get up there.
Were you on the island when it happened?
No, I moved back here, when they moved to prison. I was working on a PhD, in film studies.
You moved back to run the theater?
Yeah, my granddad just wasn't up to it. Losing most of his money and having his son and daughter-in-law get busted pretty much did him in.
That was a lot to take on. Your parents must be so proud of you.
They haven't mentioned it.
Kate laughs and looks at the TV screen, and then back at Chip.
George pretty much raised me. I'd do anything for him. But sometimes I feel like all I'm doing is shoring up history.
I'm sure. Oh, God. Sorry, that was stupid.
No, that was funny.
They smile at one another. Pause. They look up at the TV screens.
But anyway, Chip, you know all about shoring up history. No one writes about it better than you.
I like writing about passionate people in the theaters they keep alive. These old theaters, they're filled with so many memories.
And ghosts.
Yeah, ghosts too.
The home sure has made a lot of people happy.
You've said that before.
What?
Just the way you say it, in the past tense.
It hasn't been past perfect, that's for sure. This island, my family, the theater, it's been complicated for me.
Kate looks at the TV screens, down at her drink, and then finally at Chip. She pauses another second.
I've got to be honest with you. The fact is, I'm thinking of putting the theater on the market. I mean, maybe I won't. I don't know.
You'll make sure it remains a movie theater.
Of course. Not. Yeah, probably not.
But the letter you sent me, you were so eloquent. I never would have bothered to come here if I thought you were going to sell it to the highest bidder.
I said my life was complicated.
Kate laughs, sort of, then sobers up as she catches a glimpse of Ted. He walks over to the makeshift stage with Summer and the other guitar player, Mike. He whispers in Summer's ear and laughs.
I wanted you to see my theater because I love the way you write, the way you see the world.
I'm afraid you've got the wrong guy for the job, Miss Holmes.
Wait a minute.
Ted and his band begin to play their first song of the night. Kate is rather distracted, but she keeps her eyes on Chip.
My granddad's still paranoid about the feds taking our money. He hid our savings, and he can't remember where he put it.
That doesn't change the fact.
Without that money, there's no way we can even think about buying a new projector.
That just requires a little assertive fundraising.
I am afraid I did not take the assertive fundraising course in college.
It's not that hard. I could have that money raised in 2 months.
Really?
Chip, aware that Kate is distracted by the music, turns all the way around and looks at Ted and the band. Ted looks directly at Chip. Chip stiffens a bit, turns back around.
Of course, I'm sorry about your grandfather, and, well, all of it, really.
So, you are actually going to forgive me?
Well, no.
I think you're brilliant. And honestly...
So now we're going to talk honestly.
He pushes his drink away, stands up, gets his wallet from his pocket. Jimmy and Jade walk up to Kate and Chip.
Wait a minute. Hold on there.
The bridge is closing.
You'll need to take Chip to the shelter. We've got a whole bunch of other stuff to do here. I'm gonna let Ted finish this set and then close it down.
I can get there by myself.
Jade and Jimmy laugh.
No, you're just gonna have to let Kate get you there.
Ted keeps singing, the band keeps playing, but Ted hardly takes his eyes off of Kate and Chip.
You say there's always gonna be this thing between us. You say it again and again.
Because of the crowd, Kate and Chip have to walk in front of Ted as they leave the bar. Chip smiles at Ted as he walks by, but Ted doesn't notice because he is too busy watching Kate. Pretty much everyone at the bar is watching Kate and Chip walk out of the breeze.
You managed to crawl inside my heart. You've managed to crawl inside my brain. If you tell me that you love me. I'll be there for you again and again.
Exterior, Beach Elementary School, night. The wind is strong, as is the rain. Kate and Chip are idling in her truck in front of the shelter.
I was just trying to tell you the truth. About the theater.
I would never sell it.
Easy for you to say.
It's really easy for me to say.
Yeah, well, try owning a theater someday. Little different than writing about them, that's for sure.
Chip looks out the passenger window and grabs hold of the door handle to open it.
Thanks for the ride.
Wait, I can go in there with you.
No thanks.
Chip opens the door.
I'll call...
Chip shuts the door before Kate can finish. He walks quickly into the shelter. Kate waits until he is inside before she drives away. Interior, Holmes Theater Auditorium. The house lights are dim. Kate is sitting in the theater alone, watching That Uncertain Feeling, 1941. She slouches in her seat, eating popcorn. On the screen...
You're right. It's hopeless.
It's too bad, Jill. Everything could have been so marvelous.
Yes.
There's no reason why we couldn't have been happy.
Yes, but it's too late now. It looks like the end. Goodbye, Larry, and good luck.
Jill Baker holds out her hand to shake hands with Larry. The auditorium and the screen suddenly go dark as the storm has knocked out the power. Kate stares at the black screen. Her phone lights up. She reads a text from Ted. Come to the breeze for after party. Interior, Beach Elementary School, night. Chip is trying to find a spot for himself, away from the 50 or so people at the Beach Elementary School gymnasium. The power is not working, but the emergency lighting illuminates the gymnasium. Chip is reorganizing an equipment closet so he can put a cot into the closet. A shelter coordinator walks up to Chip, politely smirking.
Sir, you can't do that. This is not a shelter-accessible area.
No problem, sorry.
Why don't you take your belongings and move to the gymnasium with the rest of the evacuees?
The shelter coordinator turns to leave the equipment closet area when she sees Kate standing at the closet door.
Kate Holmes. This man got confused. Thought he was at a resort.
Shelter coordinator and Kate laugh. The shelter coordinator walks away.
What are you doing here?
I've come to keep you entertained.
Oh, this is plenty entertaining.
Basketballs fall from the rack. A few of them land on Chip.
Nevertheless, let me help you get out of there.
Kate pulls Chip out of the equipment closet. They walk over to the Sailor Circus acrobats, who are climbing on the gym ropes and doing feats on the rings hanging from the ceiling. A small crowd gathers around them. Shelter volunteers are setting up food for the evacuees. A few people with their dogs walk by.
Did you think you'd be doing this tonight?
Chip smiles at Kate a tiny bit. Man on stilts walks up to them.
How's it going, Kate?
Good, good. Man, looks like you've got the edge on the high tide.
Best to be prepared.
Man on stilts walks away. Kate and Chip laugh and keep watching the acrobats. Chip reaches for Kate's hand, and she lets him take it for a second. Then they wander over to the tables set up with food for the evacuees. Kate sees Mrs. Rogers and waves.
Kate Holmes, get over here right now and give me a hug. Shouldn't you be at the theater? Hey, Mrs. Rogers. The theater's okay. I had a little unfinished business here. How's your granddad? Good. Crazy, as usual. Now, I don't think I recognize you. You must be from out of town. Sorry, Mrs. Rogers. This is the movie theater professor, Chip Gallagher.
Mrs. Rogers gives Kate a hug.
A celebrity here at the shelter. Well, since you're here, you might as well help.
Mrs. Rogers gestures at the food table. Kate and Chip start serving the shelter residents who have lined up for a meal. Interior, Beach Elementary School, night. Kate and Chip have found a table and are sitting across from one another. A few people remain at the table. Most have moved back to their little shelter villages or are lying on their cots.
Mid-century theaters may be ordinary, but real people use them, gather there. It's a public space that
continues to work. But if the Holmes wasn't an island property, it'd be worth next to nothing. You know that.
people need places like the Holmes to hold their memories for them.
Of course they do. But I get kind of tired of being the mayor of memories.
I'm sure selling the Holmes and then doing what?
Moving to Nashville.
Yes, I'm sure selling the theater and moving to Nashville, that'll solve it.
Solve what?
I'm kidding you. It won't solve a thing.
You wouldn't understand.
Why do you keep thinking I won't understand? Go ahead. Sell the theater. Move to Nashville.
Kate slightly cocks her head and looks at Chip.
What?
I'm waiting.
For what?
For the oh-so-wise words that will change the way I see the world.
Chip accidentally smiles.
Okay, go ahead. Move. Then you'll know how good you had it. Here. A change in geography doesn't stop it.
Stop what?
You know, your brain from working the way it does.
And you know how my brain works.
Chip laughs and leans in and touches her arm.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I do.
Interior Beach Elementary School, night.
Yes, Greg. We are here at the Beach Elementary School shelter, speaking with some of the evacuees of this raging storm. Do you think that your home is going to be okay? Hard to know for sure. Had a nice piece of pie and coffee here, though. And you, what are your concerns about the storm? Probably some bad flooding. And your husband, are you worried?
Kate and Chip look at each other and laugh.
No. I mean, yes, but no.
Excuse me?
Kate looks at Chip intensely. Kate wipes her upper lip again, and Chip is undone by this gesture. Mary Matthews steps back and drops her on-camera posture a bit. Chip moves closer to Kate, assuming that the camera is off and the interview is over. He leans into Kate and kisses her. Mary Matthews, who realizes the camera is still on, breaks into a big grin. As seen from the TV monitor, Kate and Chip finally step away from one another, slightly dazed.
Well, Greg, who says a storm shelter can't be a great romantic getaway? With acrobats, a guy on stilts, and perfect pie, this is quite a night for magic.
She briefly listens to her earpiece. Her whimsical moment ends, and she is quite serious again.
Even though it is clear we are in a dangerous situation here on Holmes Island. Back to you.
Guy Blue is standing off camera and gives Mary Matthews a piece of pie. She takes it, smiling. He puts his arm around her. Interior, Beach Elementary School hallway, night. Kate and Chip run down the school hallway. Interior, Beach Elementary School library, night. Kate and Chip sit in little chairs at a little table in the school library. He drags her little chair next to his and grabs Kate's leg. Chip kisses Kate.
I don't want you to think for 1 minute that wasn't spectacular. It's just that it was a national...
Kate and Chip's phones ring simultaneously. They both look at their phones, look at each other, awkwardly stand up from the little chairs, and quickly walk away from each other.
That is the theater owner.
That is the movie theater professor.
Yes, I'm surprised too.
No one was as surprised as me.
I'm so incredibly sorry. No, I am.
Actually, yeah, I did get your text.
I'm sure your mom is watching it.
The lights flicker on for a moment, but then they go dead. Their phones go dead. Kate and Chip sit back down in their little chairs, in the dark, with only the security light illuminating them. They whisper.
Who is that?
My girlfriend. You?
My husband.
Do go on.
We're separated.
And he saw us?
He did. Did she?
She did.
The power. The cell tower. They're going to be down till after the storm passes through. It'll be hours.
Kate and Chip are silent for a moment.
Well, la-dee-da. La-dee-da.
Kate and Chip sit in silence.
I'll tell you what.
What?
This is what I want.
Okay.
I want to be with you at my place. At the theater. Tonight. I want us to go right now. We can worry about all that other stuff tomorrow.
Chip looks at her with raised eyebrows.
Yes or no?
Chip is momentarily silent.
Definitely yes.
Exterior, Holmes Island, night. The palm trees bend. Sheets of rain are illuminated by an emergency light of a power truck. Exterior, Holmes Island, night. The crew of the weather station move their gear away from the beach in anticipation of high tide. Interior, Kate's apartment, night. Kate lights candles. Chip and Kate dry their hair with towels. Kate and Chip stand at the window and watch the storm. Kate and Chip sit at the kitchen table. They are drinking bottles of beer and eating pistachios. They focus much of their visual attention on the nuts, opening and eating them.
What's she like?
She's the greatest.
What's she do?
She's a history professor.
Of course she is. How long's she been doing that?
Quite a while.
Really? Like, how long is quite a while?
She got tenure the year I graduated from high school.
Wow. I'm having a hard time doing the math, but...
I took it as a sign.
Yeah, a sign that she's a lot older than you are?
Her mom lives with her. She's 82, so on top of everything, a real firecracker.
You really do like old stuff.
Funny. And Francine, well, her mother really, has a beautiful apartment in the 14th, in Paris.
Oh, well, the 14th.
We go there a lot.
She should. She's got to go while she still can. You know, travel.
I'm laughing so hard.
You're lucky then.
I am.
They are silent, focusing on opening pistachios.
She wears her socks to bed.
You mean bed? Like sleepy time bed? Or...
Both. But in her defense, she does have cold feet. And she does finance the movie theater professor.
Chip presses his hands hard down on the table.
Seriously. None of this is coming out right.
Interior, Kate's apartment, night. Kate and Chip are standing in front of Kate's Polaroids. Kate holds up a candle so that they can see the photos, but the candlelight makes the photos rather ghostly. The picture of Ted catches Chip's attention.
That's your husband?
It is.
Chip moves closer to the photo. He looks at Kate, and then back at the photo.
And he was singing at the bar. Are you kidding me?
Chip backs away from Kate.
Wait a minute. He told me to bring you the night before, when we both thought you were Uncle Ed.
Chip thinks about it for a second, and then starts to laugh.
You and I created quite a spectacle then.
We did. We definitely did.
Chip smiles, and then his face gets more serious.
Was he a singer when you got married?
No, model. Model surfer stuff.
You married a model when you came home.
I did. I just wanted to settle everything down.
Chip looks at the photo, and then at Kate, and she smiles and nods.
I get it.
He's got a real chance to make it in Nashville.
Kate crosses her arms. Chip nods.
And he wants you to sell the theater.
He could care less about it. Sometimes I want to sell it too. I look at my granddad, and I mean, that guy is completely buried in the past.
I don't know. I don't think I'm the one to convince you to sell the homes.
Chip looks right at Kate.
Or stay married, for that matter.
I'd like to hear more about that.
He gently pushes Kate to the wall with the Polaroids on it, and kisses her. Some of the photos fall off of the wall. A candle illuminates the fallen photos. The one of Ted is the first to fall. Interior, Kate's apartment, night. Chip and Kate lie on the couch in Kate's living room. The lightning and thunder are active. The lightning frequently illuminates their faces.
How long have you been married?
Forever. No, 3 years. He moved out 6 months ago. Have you been married?
Nope.
Is it just the cold feet?
I just haven't found her yet.
How will you know when you do?
You know when you were little and you'd grab your friend's hands and twirl each other around and around?
Yeah, sure.
And everything's a blur except the face of your friend?
Yeah.
That's what I want. Somebody who sees me and I see her, and all the craziness of the world. Well, it's just a blur.
Chip?
Yeah?
I'm not familiar with that quote. Definitely sounds like a 40s flick, though.
It's not from a movie, Katie.
I know that. But seriously, nobody calls me Katie.
Chip laughs, grabs Kate, and she starts laughing too. He grabs her camera and takes a photo of Kate, but neither one of them bothers to look at the photo as it develops. Interior, Kate's apartment, night. The storm is getting increasingly loud. The wind pounds the windows. The lightning is fierce. Kate and Chip are making out on the couch in the living room. Most of their clothes are still on. Lightning illuminates Kate's face. Chip looks at her with great intensity. He sits up. Kate smiles. Chip stands up, takes Kate's hand, and lifts her off of the couch. Exterior, Holmes Island, night. Mary Matthews and her crew are standing right outside a hotel parking garage. The beach behind them has become much smaller as the tide is coming in.
While Holmes Island is not getting the brunt of Erica, the combination of high tide and the force of this storm is causing serious...
A massive gust of wind and rain hits Mary, and the crew's lights go out. Mary runs into the garage and into the arms of Guy Blue. Interior, Holmes Theater, evening. The lights in the theater dim, and we can barely see Kate and Chip. They are standing by the stage, and things have heated up between them. Chip lifts Kate onto the stage. It's the hottest thing ever seen on the Holmes Theater stage. Then the electricity flickers on for a second, and the movie That Uncertain Feeling starts playing again. On the screen we see...
Good luck.
And then Larry and Jill Baker embrace and kiss. Kate and Chip start laughing. It's romantic as hell. And then, faster than you can imagine, the theater begins to flood. The credits to That Uncertain Feeling run on the Holmes movie screen as the water seeps in. Kate grabs her phone and makes a call.
Jimmy, I screwed up. I need your help.
Exterior, Holmes Theater, night. Chip and Kate are outside the door of the shed that is full of sandbags. The door is open, and Chip and Kate are unloading sandbags and stacking them. It is raining cats and dogs, and the wind is in full force. Kate looks nearly drowned, depleted. She confronts Chip in the shed.
I don't think we can do this.
Jimmy will have people here in a minute.
Nobody's coming, Chip. This is crazy.
They keep stacking sandbags. A minute later, a large vehicle's headlights shine on them. It's Jimmy and Jade's VW bus, packed with folks from the shelter.
Look there.
Jimmy, Jade, Guy, Mildew, Daytona, and other buddies, and folks from the shelter appear.
Jimmy, you are a god.
Let's talk about my godliness later. Just place the bags along the foundation and stack. Contrary to what Kate seems to believe, this is not rocket science. We can get her done in 20 minutes.
They work methodically in the rain and the wind. The island posse works diligently, but are also punchy as it is now very late. Interior, Holmes Theater lobby, night. Jade, Jimmy, Kate, and Chip are drenched, but finished sandbagging. Everyone is ineffectively drying off with paper towels. They stand in water. Kate has dispensed drinks, popcorn, and candy for the crowd. Folks are mingling. Kate and Chip look happy, exhilarated.
Jimmy, man, I appreciate it.
No big deal.
Great community. This is at the heart of what I write about.
I don't know about any of that, but I do know island folks would do just about anything for our girl.
Yeah, well, I know I can think of better ways to spend my time. Jimmy, let's go home.
We'll be back in a few hours.
Thank you, my brother.
Interior, Holmes Theater, night. Kate and Chip sit on the stairs that lead to her apartment. The entire lobby is flooded. They sit without saying anything. Without expression, they stare at the remaining water and the stuff floating by.
Chip?
Yeah?
You were amazing tonight. totally there. For the theater. And for me. Thank you for all of it.
You're welcome for all of it.
Kate puts her head on Chip's shoulder. Interior, Kate's apartment, early morning. Kate and Chip are on Kate's bed. They are lying on top of the covers. Chip has one of Kate's big surfer shirts on, but it's definitely a girl's shirt and it is too tight. There are loud, intentional steps up the stairs. Kate and Chip awake abruptly. Kate's hair is in complete disarray. They both scan the room for their shorts and pants. Kate hops over to the chair where her shorts are and scurries to get them on.
Where are you? What's going on?
Kate runs out of the bedroom. Ted is standing in the living room.
What the hell, Kate?
The phones. I haven't been able to call.
Walking out with him in front of me when I was singing, and then kissing him? I mean, really kissing him on TV?
Ted, I didn't know.
You don't know anything. Where is he now, your movie theater professor?
Ted eyes the shut door of the bedroom. He walks to it and opens the door. Kate follows him.
Ted, don't.
Ted opens the door. There Chip stands, still in Kate's t-shirt. His hair is untamed. Chip smiles at Ted.
Hi?
Ted whirls around and looks at Kate. Ted looks at Chip, then at Kate, then back at Chip.
You look better on TV.
Chip's eyebrows raise. He crosses his arms. He backs up and looks at Kate.
If you'll excuse us, I'm going to take Ted back to his car.
Ted looks back at Chip with disdain. Exterior, Holmes Theater, day. Kate and Ted are in front of the Holmes Theater, standing by his parked car. He leans down and gives her a hug. From Kate's apartment window, we see an outline of Chip looking out the window. He is talking on the phone. When they embrace, he steps away from the window. Ted hugs Kate again, holding on to her much tighter than the other night. Interior, Kate's apartment, day. Kate and Chip sit at the kitchen table. The coffee pot is on the stove. He reaches over and takes her hand. Kate reluctantly lets him have it.
I've got a lot to deal with today.
So it seems.
I'm gonna just need to do it. By myself.
By all means. I talked to Francine. She asked if I still wanted her to fly down here.
Kate backs her chair away from the table.
I told her I'd let her know tomorrow morning.
Well, that's perfect. That's just great to know.
Kate stands up, goes to the stove, pours them both a cup of coffee. We hear the sound of more than one person walking up the stairs. Jimmy and Jade walk up the stairs. They enter the room smiling, but they survey the scene and their expressions grow more serious.
Greetings, troublemakers.
Jimmy and Jade walk into the kitchen, open a cupboard, and get mugs. They help themselves to the coffee and sit at the table with Kate and Chip.
How's the breeze?
Fine. That storm was no big deal. Some flooding in the utility closet, but we're good.
By the way, in the midst of saving your ass last night, we forgot to mention that we saw y'all last night. You know, on the weather station.
Oh, and we saw y'all this morning, too. You know, on the weather station and on YouTube and on Insta and Facebook. Hashtag Stormy Love. LOL.
Jimmy taps an app on his phone. There is Kate and Chip on the screen, making out. Jimmy pauses the streaming video of Kate and Chip, and then grabs the Polaroid and takes a screenshot. Kate and Chip smile a bit, in spite of themselves. Interior, Kate's apartment, day. Kate is on the phone. Kate and Chip sit at the table.
I'll let him know. I'll get back to you.
George is okay?
Kate nods. The two photos, the one Chip took of Kate last night and the one Jimmy took this morning, are on the table. Kate looks at them. Slides the one of the two of them over to Chip. She keeps the one of her.
You take this one. He's invited us over to dinner. Tonight.
Did he see...
He did.
Okay.
Please come.
Sure.
I'm sorry about Ted.
Okay. We'll just see.
See what?
Chip takes Kate's face in his hands.
How it goes.
Interior, Holmes Theater, day. Jimmy and Kate are on the bottom stairs to the still flooded lobby, surveying the damage. The Surfer Rats, Guy Blue, Mary Matthews, and the crew come to the front doors. Guy knocks on the glass. Kate and Jimmy walk down, and Kate opens the door.
What the heck, Guy?
Can we boogie board in here?
Come on, man. It'll be righteous footage.
National footage.
A righteous and national footage. Why has God forsaken me? Yeah, okay. Come on in. But you both gotta help me clean up this mess later.
Haha, you're the princess of awesomeness.
They all walk in.
I told her it'd be cool, that we've known each other forever.
Nice to see you again, Mary. You might as well get this part of my life documented, too.
Interior, Holmes Theater, day. From the point of view of the weather station camera, we see Mildew, Daytona, and their buddies floating around in the theater on their boogie boards. They play bumper cars. Exterior, Holmes Island, day. Kate, Jimmy, Guy, Mildew, Daytona, Mary Matthews, and crew are now outside the theater.
How extensive is the damage to the homes? I don't know yet. The home seems worse off than other establishments in the area. Can you explain why you've been hit so hard? Are you aware that your weather station kiss is currently trending #StormyLove?
Jimmy walks up, puts his hand over the camera.
Okay, that's enough. She had a rough night.
Interior, Holmes Theater, day. The Holmes is in the earliest stages of being deflooded. A crew is on the scene. Some of the crew members are bringing in big-ass fans. Others are working to drain the water.
I gotta go.
Kate nods, looks around the theater, and begins to hum to herself softly.
You've got to get it together.
True.
How pissed is Ted?
Extremely.
What you going to do?
I'm going to tell Ted to move to Nashville.
Kate combs her hands through her hair.
Without me.
Well, well, screw your courage to the sticking place, and you'll not fail.
Kate laughs. Her phone rings.
Go wash your hands, Lady Macbeth. I've got to take this call.
Interior, Holmes Theater, day. Kate and Harold, the insurance agent, are walking around the theater inspecting the damage. Harold writes stuff down on his clipboard. The deflood crew is still there, but the water has receded. Mildew, Daytona, and their buddies are shoveling out mud.
Thanks for coming so fast, Harold.
No problem. So, listen, this is what I've got. You ready?
Okay.
The whole place is going to have to be cleaned and disinfected. You're going to have to take out the carpet, take out all of the theater chairs, have them recovered, or maybe get new ones.
Jesus. Okay.
The big problem you have are the walls. Now, the wallboards act like a sponge, so the wallboard and plaster will have to be removed at least to flood level, and we'll have to take a look at the subflooring before we make any decisions on that.
So this'll take a few weeks?
Try a few months. You think you're gonna get 100 seats recovered in a few weeks?
How am I supposed to show movies? I mean, I seriously need the money.
No movies here for months. The other thing I've got to tell you, your policy is only going to cover, I'd say, 40 to 50% of this. This is going to cost you, gal.
So, how much are we talking?
$80,000 to $90,000 out of pocket?
Man, this day is just not getting any better.
Harold hands Kate his clipboard. Kate signs her name.
Uh-huh. It's tough for everybody these days.
Exterior, Holmes Island, day. Jade and Chip are in Jade's old VW bus, driving on the island. As they talk, they drive by the shuffleboard courts, with lines of parked golf carts. The shuffleboarders are cleaning the courts of debris and mud. They drive by the skateboard park. Mildew and Daytona are cleaning debris from the park. Jade and Chip wave at them. They wave back. They drive by an island. Old tan fishermen are drinking beers. They wave. Chip and Jade wave back.
You sure dig your bus.
Thanks. We love her too. Her name's Gertie.
Chip pats the dashboard.
Hey, Gertie.
They drive by Beach Elementary School, where volunteers are carrying out the remaining food and cots and other hurricane shelter provisions.
You and Kate are sort of special together.
Chip doesn't acknowledge Jade's comment. They pull up to the little beach library. Jade parks the van and looks at Chip.
Maybe it's time for both of you to make a change.
We'll see
See what?
how it goes.
You know, Ted and Kate just want different things. He likes the spotlight. A lot. Like really a lot.
Chip and Jade laugh just a little bit at Ted's expense.
He a friend of yours?
Jade shrugs.
He has every right to go. She has every right to stay. But don't you be in a hurry to leave the island. That's all I'm saying.
Chip looks out the window and nods. Interior, Holmes Theater, day. The deflooding crew has packed up and are ready to leave. Kate shakes their hands, signs the clipboard, and opens the doors for them.
Thanks, you guys. Awesome work.
The crew leaves, and Kate stands at the front door looking out on Main Street. She checks her phone, deletes messages, frowns, looks back to the street. Man on stilts walks by. Two men, Richard Gold and Manny Bricks, who are in their 40s, wearing golf shirts, khaki shorts, and visors, pull up to the theater in a golf cart and walk up to the doors, while Kate is standing there. They wave at her and talk to her through the doors.
Can we come in?
Sure. No movies today, though.
They laugh, and Kate opens the door.
Kate Holmes?
Sure am. How can I help you?
My name is Richard Gold, and this is my partner, Manny Bricks. Can we talk to you for a second?
Absolutely. Sorry, things are a mess.
Well, that's why we're here, actually.
What?
We saw you on the TV this morning. Saw the flood in the theater. You were looking pretty down and out, if you don't mind me saying so.
What Richard is trying to say, Kate, is that we'd like to help you out of this mess.
You're upholstery recoverers?
Right. Hilarious. No, we're real estate investors, and we'd like to buy this place.
You're kidding me.
Whatever the appraisal price is, cash. We'll make it quick. Get this place off your hands.
A pretty young woman like you, I mean, surely you have better things to do.
Wow. It'll be months before it's all rehabilitated. I mean...
Well, that's the thing, Kate. We'll take it off your hands right now. We'll take care of the repairs, and in a way, this works for us.
Meaning?
Everybody on this island saw that footage on the weather station, right?
Right.
So everybody will understand why we'll have to gut the place and start all over again.
Our wives love it here, and we thought maybe they'd open up a little antique store or something silly like that. Something for them to do while we golf.
Nice hobby for them.
You know.
I guess I know.
Those stairs go up somewhere we can sit down?
Yeah, definitely. You two like some coffee?
Love some. Let's have some coffee and hammer out a plan, Kate.
Richard pats Kate on the back. Well, actually, on her butt. Interior, beach library, day. Chip is sitting at a library table, surrounded by clipping folders, totally analog. Mrs. Rogers appears at his table and hands him a new folder.
Now, Chip, this is the Holmes family folder. More personal articles. I'm not saying you're going to like everything you see in there. No, it's nothing really. Well, here.
Mrs. Rogers opens the folder and hands Chip the newspaper article of Kate and Ted's marriage announcement in the Island News. The photo shows Ted front and center. Kate is basically in the margin of the photo. Chip and Mrs. Rogers study it. Mrs. Rogers raises one eyebrow and looks at Chip.
Well, there you have it. Let me know if you need anything else. Glad you survived your first storm on the island, Chip.
Chip takes another look at the wedding announcement. He places it at the bottom of the pile of articles and starts looking at other newspaper clippings. He reads articles about the high school senior Kate being named valedictorian, the college sophomore Kate making the dean's list at Duke, Kate's parents' sentencing, Kate taking over the Holmes Theater. A photo of Kate standing in front of the theater accompanies the article. He reaches for Ted and Kate's wedding announcement again, but right then Jade and Annie walk up to the table. He quickly puts it back at the bottom of the pile. Exterior, home-style grocery store, day. The weather station crew is soberly packing the van. Their backpacks and some luggage are on the ground next to the van. They chat with the locals as they pack the van, but Mary Matthews stands alone, looking down Main Street. Interior, Kate's apartment, day. Kate, Richard Gold, and Manny Bricks sit at the kitchen table. Manny is intently writing on a piece of paper. Richard Gold is taking a hit off a joint.
This is the life, right, Kate?
Yeah, sure it is.
What are you going to do after we take this place off your hands?
Not sure. I thought I might be moving to Nashville.
With that guy you were kissing on TV last night?
No, with my husband.
Richard laughs, coughs from the hit he's taking, hands the joint to Manny. They both laugh.
Mad respect, Kate.
He passes the sheet of paper to Kate.
So, this is just a mock-up of the general agreement. In terms of appraisal price, cash payment, we'll take over the repairs, so...
I need to discuss it with my grandfather first.
Right, of course. But we're going back to Orlando tomorrow. You think you could find the parcel map? Just so we can see what we've got here exactly.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
They stand up. Manny and Richard are pretty stoned.
You gonna be okay driving the golf cart back to your hotel?
Manny and Richard laugh in a nasty frat boy sort of way. Exterior, Holmes Island, day. Chip, Jade, and Annie are hanging on their boards waiting for a wave to appear. Chip manages his board almost as well as Annie and Jade. They see Kate, Jimmy, Mildew, Daytona on the beach. They all wave to one another.
But anyway, what she really needs is a partner at the theater who is more practical than she is.
Chip looks at Annie with a bit of surprise.
Our girl Kate definitely needs to find a brilliant partner with some horse sense.
A practical romantic.
Exactly!
Exactly!
Jade, Annie, and Chip drift into the beach and get out of the water. Jade, Jimmy, Mildew, and Annie walk away. Chip looks at Kate in her swimsuit and is momentarily transfixed.
Hey.
So you surf too?
Yeah, a little. How was your day?
Okay, considering the theater is a disaster. Yours?
It was okay. Missed you.
Missed you too.
They look at each other, smiling.
Can you be ready in an hour? I'll pick you up. Wear the least amount of clothes possible. What you have on looks perfect. Seriously, George doesn't believe in air conditioning. It's gonna be a tropical nightmare at his house. Unless we spend the night in his vault.
Well, I'll do my best.
I can't imagine.
Imagine what?
How amazing your best must be.
They smile at one another, and Chip puts his hand on Kate's waist and kisses her on the cheek. Exterior, Holmes Island, early evening. Kate is driving Chip in her truck along the coastline. It's still light out, but the sun is much less harsh. Kate is dressed in appropriate island wear, a little dress and flip-flops. Kate and Chip drive by the weather station van, parked by the beach. They see Mary Matthews and Guy Blue hugging. Guy appears to wipe away a tear.
Well, that's a damn shame.
Yeah, sure is.
Man, that happens to him all the time. Always the guy that gets left behind.
Exterior, Holmes Island, early evening. We hear the song Melissa by the Allman Brothers Band. Kate and Chip walk on the powdered sugar beach. The sun is sinking. A brigade of tots play at the edge of the water. 3 shorties wallop Kate with sand. Covered in sand, she grabs Chip's hand, and they run into the water to escape the tyrants. Kate and Chip approach weathered bikini-clad women smoking cigarettes. With ciggies in hand, they wave at Kate and Chip. They wave back, holding their breath, walking quickly by. Kate and Chip come to a teenaged volleyball game. Mildew and Daytona playfully coerce them to play for a bit. Chip is an ace, but Kate is the one that spikes it. They walk away from the game. Mildew and Daytona follow Kate and Chip. Kate turns around and silently motions for them to get lost. They silently mock and laugh at her. Kate and Chip approach a fisherman standing on the beach. Kate gently grabs Chip's shoulders right before he walks into the fisherman's line. The fisherman takes a swig of beer and waves at them. Kate and Chip drink a beer at a beach bar as they watch paragliders float in the rosy sky over the Gulf water. Chip smiles at Kate.
Thank you.
For...
all of this.
You really like all this?
He grabs her arm and kisses her. Exterior, George Holmes' house, early evening. Kate and Chip pull up to George's house and park the truck.
George likes stuff, I see.
Oh, you haven't seen the worst or the best of it yet.
Chip looks out the window and sees Kate the dog running up to the truck.
Who's that?
That's Kate.
You two have the same name?
Yeah.
Kate looks faux seriously at Chip.
Usually people can tell us apart.
They get out of Kate's truck, and Kate the dog runs up to them and does her doggy stuff, showing them how happy she is to see them. Interior, George Holmes' house, evening. George's living room is packed with yard sale and high-end furniture. Where one chair would do, George has 4. George is once again dressed all in white, but tonight he has big purple glasses on. George moves a pile of National Geographic magazines off of a chair and gestures for Chip to sit.
It's a real pleasure. Hope that little storm didn't cause you too many problems last night.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes.
Call me George.
I'll go get us something cold to drink.
Beers! Let's celebrate your television debut.
It's been a hell of a day. Can you not give us a hard time?
A hard time? By God, that was the best kiss I've seen on the screen in decades.
You've got a point, but you saw my disastrous sophomore effort today.
You can't compare romance with tragedy. You get it all pumped out?
Kate walks to the kitchen.
Yeah.
It happened to me a few times over the years, though not so bad. Of course, I always sandbagged in time. She gets a little overwhelmed.
Chip nods.
It's a great theater.
Maybe Kate told you she was thinking of selling it, but now you seem to be courting her, and you surely wouldn't want her to sell the theater.
Oh, we're not together.
Ah, nobody goes to the movies anymore. Hell, I don't even go to the movies anymore, and it's my theater. I want a red box.
Kate walks in with 3 cold beers.
Plenty of people still want to go to the pictures, Granddad.
I prefer red box.
Find your money and you can do whatever you want, big guy.
The 60s and early 70s were the best years the Holmes had. By the 80s, the studios pumped out all those damn blockbusters. Never been a big fan myself.
Interior, George Holmes' dining room, night. George, Kate, and Chip sit at the dining room table, eating dinner. George has a toaster on the dining room table, and it is obvious that dinner was frozen waffles and beer. Kate the dog hangs out by the table. George gives her the last, but entire, waffle from the table. They are laughing, and there are more than a few empty beer bottles on the table. Kate wipes the perspiration off her upper lip, and Chip looks at her adoringly. Interior, George Holmes' office, evening. Kate, Chip, and George are crammed into George's office. It's stacked to the top with old books, theater paperwork, and magazines. Kate, a little tipsy, is sitting perilously on the edge of a chair, looking at materials George has given her. George is going through more materials for Chip to look at. Kate hands Chip some photographs of the theater.
Let's go upstairs.
Chip raises his eyebrow. Kate laughs.
I'll show you the vault.
Chip stands up.
Hold on. Is this something we should be worried about?
Chip sits back down. George hands Kate an unopened envelope. Kate looks at the return address and gasps. She opens it up, looks at the paper, looks at George.
When did this come?
Not sure. What is it?
Jesus, George. Our property taxes. This says we owe $4,000.
Hell's bells.
We're screwed.
Chip watches them. George sits down on a pile of magazines. Kate stares at the tax bill. And then, all of a sudden, we hear the front door open. Kate barks. Kate, George, and Chip look up.
Hello? Is anybody here?
Chip's jaw drops. George stands up. Kate is frozen. Ted rounds the corner and sees Kate, George, and Chip. They brace for a tantrum, but Ted calmly surveys the scene, smiles at Kate. He walks over to George and gives him a hug. Then he turns to Kate.
I need to talk to you.
Yeah, sure.
Kate looks over at Chip, then walks out of the office area with Ted. Ted looks at Chip as he walks out of the room. George sits back down and looks at Chip. Chip looks at George.
I was really hoping I wouldn't have to see him again today.
George laughs. Exterior, George Holmes' house, night. Kate and Ted stand very close to one another by his truck. He has his hand on her arm.
I don't want to see you with anyone else ever again.
Kate moves her arm away from Ted's hand.
Especially not on TV.
He laughs, but he's serious.
Ted,
I'm your husband.
You jumped ship. Before we even had a chance to figure this out.
Take him back to the breeze. I'll meet you at our place. We can talk about it.
Kate gently pushes Ted away, shakes her head.
You should go. Just go get ready for your trip to Nashville.
What are you saying?
I'm saying you should leave.
The front door opens, and Chip and Kate the dog appear in the doorway. Chip walks over to Kate and Ted.
I'd like to take a look at the vault, but George isn't up to going upstairs.
Absolutely. Yes, I was just saying goodbye to Ted.
Okay.
Chip does not retreat.
Can we have a minute?
Chip smiles, looks at Ted with a steady gaze.
Go get ready for your trip.
That's what you're saying to me?
Chip's here working on his story. That's what we're doing. Now, we're going back inside. To work.
You and we're not done here.
Ted then looks at Chip.
But I am done with you.
Kate has a bit of a snort. Ted walks to his car. Kate and Chip, with some distance between them, walk toward the front door. Interior, George Holmes' house, evening. Kate and Chip are back in George's office. George is entranced with another box of artifacts he has discovered. He looks up, distracted.
Well, how'd it go?
Couldn't have been better.
Kate rolls her eyes. Chip doesn't make eye contact with Kate and shakes his head. They both walk to the stairs and are about to begin climbing them. Kate stops Chip at the bottom of the stairs.
I'm sorry about that. I just wanted him to go away.
Chip stops and looks at Kate carefully.
I'm sorry if I didn't handle it the way you would have.
Kate the dog barks. The front door opens again.
My car won't start. Must have gotten flooded last night.
We hear George clearing his throat and then holding back a laugh. We don't see Ted, but his voice gets louder as he is walking toward the stairs.
I guess I could call AAA.
Chip and Kate step away from the stairs. Chip shakes his head and mouths silently,
Oh, hell no.
It'll just take a minute, I promise. I'm sorry.
Ted rounds the corner.
Not half as sorry as I am.
Exterior, George Holmes' house, evening. Ted is sitting in the driver's seat, so to speak, and the hood of his car is open. Kate stands over the engine.
Try it again.
Ted tries to start the car again, but the engine does not turn over. He hops out of the car and stands next to Kate. Chip opens the front door just in time to see Ted put his hand in Kate's back pocket. Kate gently removes Ted's hand as she continues to look at the engine. Chip quietly walks over and stands next to Kate.
You have jumper cables?
Jesus, Chip, you scared me.
Ted moves away from the engine and turns toward Chip.
What's your hurry, dude?
Chip turns around to go back inside without looking at Kate or Ted. We only see the back of Chip, but we can tell he is pissed. He reaches the front door and then turns around to see Kate, who is now in the driver's seat. She starts Ted's car up immediately. Kate gets out and Ted climbs inside his car. He gives Kate a seething look and takes off. Interior, George Holmes' house, evening. Kate and Chip are once again at the bottom of the stairs. Chip is not happy.
I'm sorry.
Chip backs away from Kate.
All of this is just more than I bargained for.
Kate nods.
All this is totally more than you bargained for. But Chip, come on. We just met 2 days ago. I think I deserve a little more time to get this straightened out.
Chip relents and smiles at Kate a teeny bit.
It seems like I've known you a lot longer than that. You know why, don't you? Because we recognized each other. Right away, I think.
Chip looks at Kate intently.
You're serious?
I'm dead serious. I know this is crazy to say after just a few days, but...
Chip leans in to listen to Kate's declaration. Except as he does, Kate barks and the front door opens again.
My luggage. It's still at our place.
The spell is utterly broken.
Kate, Ted's here to pay us a visit.
I know that.
Chip backs away and stands perfectly still.
That dude is relentless.
It's just his luggage.
It's your baggage I'm worried about.
Ted, with George and Kate the dog following, walks to where Kate and Chip stand at the bottom of the stairs. The stairwell is tight, a bit claustrophobic, particularly for 4 people and a dog.
I need that luggage that you bought me for my birthday.
Okay.
And they're at the apartment.
You need them right now?
I do.
Chip, George, and Ted lean in, waiting to hear how Kate will reply to Ted's request.
Okay, if you could just give me 5 minutes, Ted?
George takes a swig of his beer, Kate the dog barks, and Chip finally reaches the end of his rope.
I'm all finished here.
Chip.
I mean, it was really interesting 48 hours of whatever this was.
It really wasn't anything at all.
Ted, it was something. It is something. Chip, I need you to hear that.
So then I guess you told him that you've got buyers lined up for your precious theater?
Chip looks at Ted quizzically, and then back at Kate.
They're not buyers. They're just guys who are interested in it. They just showed up. Today.
You didn't mention it.
When would I have had time to do that?
Like during our walk on the beach?
You walked with him? On our beach?
George moves in even closer. He looks directly at Kate.
If it helps at all, Chip, my granddaughter didn't tell me about the buyers either.
You didn't even tell George?
I was going to tell you both.
I'm so embarrassed that I thought for even 1 minute.
They're just some assholes from St. Louis that showed up at the theater.
Kansas City.
Kate looks at Ted, and then at Chip, and then back at Ted. George and Kate the dog walk away.
How in the hell do you know all this, Ted?
These guys had some beer in a joint.
And?
They told me they were celebrating because they were buying the theater from the flaky girl they'd seen on TV.
Chip snorts. George and Kate the dog walk back into the crowded stairwell. George holds out a beer.
Anyone want a beer?
Granddad, are you kidding me right now?
Chip reaches a hand out for the beer in George's hand.
I'll take it.
Anyway, I was pretty sure they were talking about you.
Ted looks at Kate, smirking. Kate's expression suggests she finally understands why Ted showed up, asking to reconcile.
So, you thought I was selling the homes?
You'd be a fool not to sell it.
And that's why you're here. You're here for the money, aren't you?
The money?
The money. From the sale of the theater?
Which will be a sizable sum. Not that money's ever been my mistress.
Like, how much money exactly?
Kate starts to laugh.
You're not even trying to deny it.
As fascinating as this is, I gotta go.
Wait.
She looks at Chip, but then at Ted.
Our marriage is over. You know that, right?
Ted is visibly undisturbed by Kate's declaration.
Jesus, I left you like 6 months ago.
Ted flips his hair like the ex-model that he is.
I can make it without you or your money. That's what Summer says.
Oh, I bet Summer's had a lot to say.
At least she knows what she wants.
Ted's right. You have no idea what you want.
I do know what I want. I want you, Chip. The theater, this island. That's what I want. I just need to fix all of this.
I've got no time for all this.
Seriously, I don't even know if I want that luggage anymore.
Chip can't help but laugh at Ted. Ted sort of smiles because he likes the attention. All of them are still standing really too close to one another in the stairwell. Kate the dog walks over to Kate, the woman, and pukes up the waffle all over Kate's ankles, flip-flops, and her feet. Ted and Kate and George and Chip all look down at the puke. Kate the dog continues to retch. Ted looks at Chip.
Looks like she's up to her ankles in it. Want to lift back to the breeze?
Chip laughs. Without looking at Kate or the vomit, he hands Kate the rest of his beer and steps over the puke. Ted and Chip head toward the front door. George looks at us for just 1 second. I mean, he thought he'd seen it all in his 50 years watching the movies at the Holmes Theater. Interior, Holmes Theater, evening. With the light coming from the screen, we see Kate sitting hunched over in a lawn chair on the stage. In the film, tall trees falling are juxtaposed with massive waves crashing on the shore. Back and forth, back and forth. Dramatic music plays. Kate makes a phone call. No one answers. She puts the phone in her lap and then buries her head in her hands. Interior, Holmes Theater, day. The morning following the debacle at George's, Annie and Kate are lingering at the candy counter. Annie is actually lying on top of it, with one knee bent. She is looking at her iPad. Kate leans against the counter, looking at her phone. The lobby is still in disarray because of the flood. Annie's badass curly hair is draped over the edge of the counter. The fans move it around.
So, to recap, in 3 days, I've compromised this place in more ways than I thought were even possible. I've lost my husband, and I completely blew it with the movie theater professor, who is now MIA.
You called him?
Several times.
Nothing.
Correct.
Shall we consider the facts, or do you still want to wallow?
Wallow.
Okay.
For an almost uncomfortable amount of time, they are silent. Annie lies on the counter, her arms above her head, looking at stuff on her iPad. Kate stares at her phone.
Okay.
Fine. We'll start with the easy part.
Good.
Ted's not lost, Kate.
Well,
He's just using a different map than you.
nice.
And he was nice enough to give your boyfriend a ride. What more do you want?
He's not my boyfriend. Regretfully.
So what are you doing?
What do you mean?
Why aren't you at Chip's door begging him to reconsider your worthiness as a partner in the realms of romance, spirituality, intellect, and the movie theater business?
He doesn't want anything to do with me.
How do you know?
He walked over Kate's pile of puke and right out of Granddad's house, and never even looked back.
You deserved it.
I guess so.
So, it's up to you to fix it.
Cannot be done.
Kate, it can and must be done. You must declare your love. It's definitely time for Lloyd's boombox.
What?
Annie holds her iPad above her head, like she is holding a boombox.
You know, the grand gesture.
Annie jumps off the counter and stomps around a bit, still holding the imaginary boombox above her head.
Come on, Kate, everybody knows this.
Kate shakes her head, defeated.
I gotta go.
Annie lies back down on the counter. She looks at her iPad. Kate walks out the door.
Find yourself a boombox, Kate Holmes.
Interior, George Holmes' kitchen, day. George and Kate are drinking water out of even weirder vintage glasses, leaning against the kitchen counter.
They're total dicks, but they'll pay full price in cash.
Sometimes dicks are a godsend, I suppose.
They want to see our parcel map before they leave today.
Can't say I've seen that map recently.
Kate laughs.
Yeah, well, I'm supposed to meet them in
Kate looks at the 2 clocks on the kitchen wall.
less than an hour. I gotta find it.
Before you start looking, I just wanted to say, about last night,
I don't want to think it. I gotta find that map.
then I'll be quick. Get right with it, Chip.
You saw him walk out of here last night. And now, selling the theater? I mean, any shred of respect he had for me.
I think he loves you.
No.
And you love him. He's got the heart for the job. This one, he can love you back.
Kate sets down her water.
I gotta find that map.
Interior, George Holmes' house, day. Kate carries a large box of artifacts up the stairs, down the hallway. She reaches a shut door. We can hear the air conditioner working behind the door. Kate puts down the box, opens the door, picks the box back up, and walks into the vault. She shuts the door behind her. Kate looks around for a place to put the box, and she surveys the room, trying to get a sense where the parcel map might be. There are at least 100 cans of film shelved. There are boxes and boxes of materials. It's pretty tidy overall, and there is some respect for the order of the archive in George and Kate's homemade vault. Kate sets the box down on a table. As she moves across the room toward a filing cabinet, Kate stops, almost tripping on two 35mm reels on the floor. The reels, aghast, are not in their film can. They lie on the floor, exposed.
How many months have these been lying here?
Kate bends down and she tries to identify the reels, with no luck. She stands up, looks around the vault for the film can, so she can put the reels in the can and put the film back on the shelf. She gets distracted by another box of materials. When she looks up, her eyes happen on two lone film cans. She walks over to them. They say Jerry Maguire. She shakes her head.
Bootlegged, no less.
She reaches down to grab the cans, but when she picks one of them up, it is far more heavy than she had anticipated. Kate stands all the way up with the heavy can in her hands. She looks around the room for a place to put the can so she can investigate. She walks over to the table and puts the can down. Distractedly, Kate opens the can. When she does, dozens of $100 bills fly out of the can, and then dozens more. Kate's jaw drops. 1,000 $100 bills fly out into and around the room.
Holy cow! Granddad!
Kate starts to laugh.
Oh yeah, show me the money!
She laughs again, and then she stops. We can see by Kate's expression that she's figuring out what finding the money actually means. She's got the money to keep the theater, and... She turns around, runs out of the vault, down the hall, and down the stairs. George is at the bottom of the stairs.
I found it.
The map?
The money! It's in the vault! Why didn't you look up there?
Told you already. It's too damn hot to go up there.
Kate runs to the front door. George lopes after her, but stops at the door.
Where are you going?
Chip.
Kate starts to get in her truck. She looks at George. George nods approvingly.
Godspeed.
Kate peels out of George's driveway. Interior, Breeze Inn lobby, day. Jimmy and Jade are standing behind the counter. Jade is repositioning Jimmy's dreads on the top of his head. Kate comes bursting into the lobby.
Katie!
Don't call me that. Have you seen Chip?
Sorry, darling.
Sorry, what? He left. To pick up Francine at the airport. He told me to give you this.
Jade slides over to Kate, the photo that Jimmy had taken of Kate and Chip kissing on the weather station. Kate looks at it.
When did he leave?
A few minutes ago.
I gotta find him.
Jade dramatically looks behind the desk.
Well, he's not hiding behind here. What are you waiting for?
Kate, you know the source of true love never did run smooth.
Kate turns around and runs out the door and jumps in her truck.
Speaking of not running smooth, he's driving the very slow-going Gertie.
Jade and Jimmy laugh and high-five each other. Exterior, Holmes Island, day. Kate drives her truck by shuffleboard courts with lines of parked golf carts. She drives by a skateboard park with some surfer rats expertly maneuvering their boards. They wave at Kate. She doesn't wave back. She drives by a few island bars with old tan fishermen drinking beers outside. They wave to Kate. She doesn't wave back. Kate drives by a row of beach houses. The beach house owners are taking the plywood sheets off of their windows. They wave to Kate. She doesn't wave back. Kate is in sight of the bridge that she must cross to get to the airport, when the truck in front of her that is full of oranges abruptly stops. Hundreds of oranges fall to the ground. The driver gets out, scratches his head. Kate honks the horn and then gets out of the car. She looks around in desperation. She sees Mildew on his skateboard. He whistles. Mildew appears before Kate.
Violator.
You're bored?
Kate grabs the board, but before she takes off, Daytona shows up on his board, holding up a boombox. He solemnly offers it to Kate.
Annie found this in her grandma's garage.
Kate looks at the boombox and then at the earnest faces of Daytona and Mildew. She smiles and then shakes her head.
Got my own plan, but thanks, little dudes.
Kate takes off on Mildew's board. Daytona puts down the boombox. Some awesome tunes start playing from it when he does. Mildew and Daytona pick up oranges and throw them at each other. Kate gets to the bridge just when a gorgeous and colorful sailboat approaches the bridge. The bridge spans slowly start to rise. Kate gets off the board, looks up at the sky and wails. She reaches for the phone in her pocket. She makes a call. Exterior, Holmes Island Bridge, day. Chip is in Jade's VW bus, waiting in traffic. He has been delayed by the bridge going up for the sailboat. His phone rings. He ignores the call. Exterior, Holmes Island, day. Kate looks at her phone in disbelief. She starts to get back on the skateboard when she sees Richard Gold and Manny Bricks, stoned out of their minds, driving their golf cart. She runs over to them.
I need your cart.
What do you say?
Kate pulls Richard out of the driver's seat.
I said, I need your cart.
She looks at Manny Bricks.
Get the hell out of the cart!
Manny jumps out. Kate starts driving away.
Theater's not for sale, jerk-offs.
Kate drives the cart into the line of cars waiting for the bridge going down. There is no movement in traffic. She picks up the phone and calls Chip again. Exterior, Holmes Island Bridge, day. Chip looks down at his phone. On what seems must be the very last ring, he finally answers it. Exterior, Holmes Island, day. Kate is holding the phone, still in the queue of cars waiting for the bridge to come down. Her expression changes from panic to exhalation.
Where are you? Okay, that's fantastic. I'm gonna hang up, but hold on. Stay where you are.
The sailboat has passed under the bridge, and the lights for the bridge start flashing. Kate assesses the traffic situation and makes the ever-so-bold move to get out of the queue and drive the cart in the bike lane. As she drives by the cars in the line, the folks in the cars wave and honk at Kate. She smiles, but doesn't look at them. What seems like an eternity later, Kate spots Chip standing outside Jade's VW. She jumps out of the cart and runs to him, and it becomes very clear that running would have been the quicker choice all along.
Chip!
Chip takes her hands in his and begins twirling Kate around and around. The bridge crossing bars begin to rise, and quickly after that we hear the sound of horns honking. Kate and Chip must yell over the din. They continue to twirl.
What are we doing?
Think about it. Do you see me?
Yes.
Okay. You see me, and I see you.
Kate starts to laugh.
And all the craziness of the world is just a blur.
They laugh together and look up at the sky. And the bridge, the cars, the sun, the sky, and the water become a lovely blur of blue. Interior, Holmes Theater, day. We see a packed house in the now restored Holmes Theater. On the screen is the final scene of the movie The Big Show. Gene Autry's character is singing to a beautiful woman.
I'm mad about you. What a chance I'm taking. It must be love that's making me mad about you.
They embrace, and the big show finishes with the end. We hear Kate and Chip laughing. Interior, Holmes Theater projection booth, day. Kate and Chip are looking at the screen as it says, the end. They laugh and kiss. And then Kate and Chip pin 2 Polaroids onto the projection booth wall. The first one is the Polaroid that Jimmy took of them kissing on the weather station. The second is a Polaroid of Chip and Kate's now fully furnished apartment. Looking closely at the second Polaroid, we can see a large, beautiful, framed photo of Kate and Chip on the wall where the Polaroids used to be. Looking even more closely at the framed photo in the Polaroid of their apartment, we can see Chip and Kate standing on the beach. Surfboards stand in the sand behind them, creating a sacred wedding space. Kate holds some birds of paradise and wears a lovely little white dress. Chip is wearing a collared shirt and ironed shorts. Guy Blue stands between them, smiling widely. And right there in the corner of the photo, look, you can just barely make her out, but yes, there she is. Our own Mary Matthews. Exterior, Holmes Theater, day. At street level of the Holmes Theater, we see Mildew and Daytona, Man on Stilts, Jade and Jimmy, Mrs. Rogers and Annie standing around, talking to George. George is dressed in all white, and today he is wearing huge red glasses. Mildew and Daytona and the buddies get on their boards and take off down the sidewalk. When Mildew and Daytona skate away, we can finally see what the fuss is all about. George is standing next to his brand new, shiny red box, right next to the Holmes Theater ticket box. We see a longer view of the theater and the marquee of the Holmes that reads, Grand Reopening, The Big Show, 2 p.m., 7 p.m. The moving image freezes. The picture begins to fade into a hazy image. It undevelops and goes to white. Cut to exterior, Holmes Island, day. We see Ted and a passenger in a car driving down Beach Drive. We get closer and see that Summer is in the passenger seat. The car is packed with their stuff. We can make out Summer's guitar. They speed ahead. And then we see a golf cart with 2 people in it. We get closer to the cart and see that it is Richard Gold and Manny Bricks. They slow down and scowl at us. And because they aren't paying attention to where they are going, they nearly run over Mildew and Daytona. Mildew and Daytona laugh hysterically and give us the hang loose sign, smiling. The moving image freezes, and Daytona and Mildew's big naughty smiles start to fade and then turn to white. Cut to exterior, Holmes Island, day. 2 golf carts of casually dressed seniors drive down the road. They drive in the opposite direction of the way they drove at the beginning. They pass a sign that reads, Come again, there's no place like Holmes. It turns into a still image and fades to white. Cut to exterior, Holmes Island, day. Pelicans line the bridge. The water is a bright, bright blue. A bridge tender hangs out of the bridge house window. The bridge tender smiles, waves goodbye to us, and waves us on. He turns into a still image and fades away to white. The bridge tender smiles, waves goodbye to us, and waves us on. He turns into a still image and fades away to white.